This week in early September, the children had just gone back to school, or people left school and started at college, all very exciting for some new uniforms, new school and so on. And then, for sometimes, a bit of a panic. You've done so well at your previous school, and now you've come on to college, or to a new school where they all seem so much ahead of you. You thought you'd got there, and now you've got so much to learn. And I was thinking of that this morning. We had a bit of the gospel where I think that happened to the apostles. It comes in chapter 8 of St. Mark's Gospel, when they really have arrived. Jesus said, compared with other people, who do you think I am? Other people, what do other people think about me? They told him. Now, what do you think? Because Christians have a very different attitude from everyone else. Who do you think I am? And I think, perhaps to their surprise, Peter said, you are the Christ. And they realized, because they hadn't put it into words before then, what they had come to believe. They'd known all about the prophets, the covenant, Moses, Elijah, all the wonders the Lord had done in the Old Testament, and now, more than all of that, they're looking at the Messiah. You are the Christ. Well, when you've got to that stage, I think you can say you've arrived. That is the basis of our whole Christian belief. But once they said that, immediately after that, Jesus takes them on to the next step, and they're not ready for it. Immediately afterwards, he says he had to go to Jerusalem to be tortured to death, to be humiliated and crucified and killed. On the third day rise again. That's not their idea of a Messiah. And they couldn't take it. In fact, Peter reacted like that. He said, no, Lord, that must not happen. And that really upset Jesus to the extent he called him Satan. Get behind me, Satan, you're a stone in my path. The way you're talking is not God's way. It's human. Well, of course, we are human. And it would be the natural thing saying, no, that mustn't happen. But you see, Jesus didn't want it. Jesus hated the thought of having to be tortured, but accepted it. And that is the hardest step to take. Even this, Jesus told the apostles not to mention to people that he was the Christ, because people had the wrong idea of the Christ. They would expect to triumph. They had to wait until people get to the next step. That following Christ involves pain and hurt. But he says then, if you're going to be my disciple, take up your cross and follow me. Now, what does that mean, take up the cross? Accept that there is pain in your life. Well, you know that, you get hurt. I must say, sometimes I've been wondering, when I see how people have suffered from the hurricanes, losing their life, or refugees trying to cross the sea and drowning, losing their... When I see the way other people have suffered, I thought, Lord, have you got something in store for me? I've never suffered like that. Jesus isn't talking about whether it's very severe or not. He's simply saying, take up your cross. Will you accept that there is hurt in your life? Well, you know that because you've seen it and felt it. And that God has not lost the plot, but is leading you. Accept that there is hurt. And don't cry out and say, well, this is wrong. The natural thing is say, but why? I don't deserve this. Why should it happen to me? not a question of deserving or not deserving. Can you accept that there is pain and hurt in your life and that the Lord is still leading you? The need to accept, not saying whether it's come for some holy reason or not, that there is hurt. It will come from illness or failure or breaking up with someone. But there will be a suffering then. And if you say, Lord, why? Why, Lord? Why is this happening? That often is not a question. It simply is meaning, I don't want it. It's wrong. Why? Why should this happen to me? It's not a question. That's a refusal. On the other hand, it could be a question. Lord, why are people suffering from the hurricanes and losing their homes? Why are people being persecuted? You might just ask the question. I'm afraid there's no answer. Trust me. It's the same as happened on another occasion before that, not the apostles, but with a lot of disciples. They couldn't take his teaching. When Jesus said, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you can have no part in me. People couldn't take it. And they went away. And he didn't stop them. He didn't give an explanation. Either you trust Christ or not. Why, Lord? No explanation. Do you trust that God is guiding? Not wanting the hurt. Try to get rid of it. If you're ill, go to the doctor, take medicine, look after the children who are ill. So try to avoid failure. But when it comes, realize that the Lord is leading. Can you accept that? Well, I say it's enormous help if you have someone to support you and some sympathy. A friend of mine was telling me, she was driving along a little while ago, and she said to somebody else in the car, oh, that's Isabel's house over there. She's just lost her husband. I don't know her all that well, but I wonder if I should go and see her. And the friend in the car said, go, and if you're in the way it'll be obvious, but she may need you. And she told me afterwards, thank God I went. That woman just wanted someone to talk of the pain she was going, someone who would somehow understand. Not moaning in herself. Have someone to sympathise with you as a help. That's very different from moaning and whining about, oh, I dear, what's wrong with self-pity. Oh no, without self-pity, be care of that. Without bitterness, simply want you to talk to someone who can understand a bit of what you're going through. That we can offer to others just by listening, by being there, by showing we are concerned. I do find it help me, it doesn't ease the pain, but to know and think of Christ looking at me with sympathy. When I was a kid, they used to say, offer it up. There's no use, offer it up. Don't know what that meant. No, but to look to Christ and say, help. And you got to talk to Christ. Or Our Lady. A lot of people go to Our Lady better as well. Yesterday we had the feast of Our Lady of Sorrows, and the Gospel was the bit where she stood at the foot of the cross, seeing her son dying in agony. And if a person is in pain and they turn to Mary, they know she understands. She's not at that moment thinking about her son dying, she's thinking about you and understanding. As we can give sympathy to others, we can ask it from Christ. And that support helps us to accept and trust that God is leading. Jesus even uses the expression, you must lose your life for my sake. Lose your life to come to me. He's not talking about physically dying. Before you come to that, you will go through other deaths. We have an expression in French, I don't think it's in English or in Spanish. Partir, c'est mourir un peu. When you are separated from someone, something in you dies. To say goodbye is dying a bit. If someone close to you physically dies, you lose them. Or if you lose them in divorce, or people walking out on you, there's a death. Something in you dies. But other things happen in our life like that. And that's what Jesus means, to die for him, to accept these moments of death which come to us. No explanation. You don't feel you're coming to the resurrection. Jesus says you are. But when it happens, it doesn't feel like that. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus did not feel he was coming to the resurrection. He was only conscious of dying. And when that happens to you, it requires a lot of faith and trust that God is leading. And sometimes, it's not just once, it goes on. Sometimes it just goes on for such a long time. You just grit your teeth, hoping you will come out to some ease a bit later on. I know one couple, they've got a little boy and a little girl. The boy, Sebastian, he's about 5 years old. For 3 of those years, he's been dying. His mother and father have been going through that. Constantly, will he ever survive? Will there be a miracle? Saying at times, I don't think I can take any more. And they feel they're losing trust, but their trust, I can see, is growing. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like the loss of everything. But it's through that, trust in God guiding, and Jesus says, will bring you to the resurrection. It will not feel like it, because if it does, it's not the pain that he suffered. But offering you eventually, and the resurrection, St. Paul puts it like this, is something you've never seen. No eye can see, no ear can hear, no human being can ever describe the sheer beauty and joy of what God will offer us at the resurrection. But before that, accept the cross, accept the hurt in your life as not because it's gone wrong, not because it deserved or not deserved, but Christ is leading. We need that trust if we're going to say, I'm a disciple of Christ, I follow Christ. Walk with me, O my Lord, through the darkest night and brightest day. Pray that you will feel Christ's presence occasionally in the middle of the pain, because Christ is there with you. Amen.